It's telling me. We're gonna hope I get this right. Oh, wait, I don't think I did. Hold on. One more time. I don't think I put the sound on. Oh, the sound is on.
Who says it can't? Who says it can't? Who says it can't be a saint? Saint. Who says it can't? Who says it can't? Who says it can't be a saint? Saint. Who says it can't? Who says it can't? Who says it can't be a saint? Saint.
Yeah, who said you can't be a saint? Boy, I think you can do it. Persevere, gotta push through it when you're feeling down. Gotta renew it, don't just lose it. Listen to music, life is a journey, no cruising through it. But there's holiness in the everyday, I know that I can prove it. Going to school, going to church, cooking some dinner, a job as a clerk, just keep it up. Do your duties well and let him do the work. You're a baby, you're a brother, you're a teacher, you're a mother, just keep it up. Do your duties well and let him do the work.
Who says it can't? Who says it can't? Who says it can't be a saint? Saint. Who says it can't? Who says it can't? Who says it can't be a saint? Saint. Who says it can't? Who says it can't? Who says it can't be a saint? Saint.
Yeah, times are tough, gotta get up no matter how rough. Saint ain't nothing but a sinner who never gave up. I'ma never give up. I can, you can, we can, everybody rise up, highs up. Knocking at your door, knocking at your door, knocking at your door, cause I wanna be more. Lord, let me in, cause I wanna give it out. Give my life, so I put on Christ. Peter, Paul, John, James, free from my chains and I'm on the shame. Following Christ with all that I got. Spirit filled when I run this race. Rise up with them saints until I see him face to face.
Who says it can't? Who says it can't? Who says it can't be a saint? Saint. Who says it can't? Who says it can't? Who says it can't be a saint? Saint.
I wanna be a saint. I wanna be a saint. I wanna be a saint. I wanna be a saint. He wants to be a saint. She wants to be a saint. We wanna be a saint. We wanna be a saint.
Who says it can't? Who says it can't? Who says it can't be a saint?
Let's go.
Saint.
Everybody.
Who says it can't? Who says it can't? Who says it can't be a saint? Saint.
Alright.
Who says it can't? Who says it can't? Who says it can't be a saint? Saint.
Who says you can't be a saint? Well, I think we all have saint people that we admire, we may take time to pray to. Some of us have been called by their names and because of who they are. Could you put in the chat box names of saints that you find special in your life? Maybe that you pray to, that you know about, that you've read about. Who are those saints that you have and hold? And we'll just give you a couple minutes to do that. And Annalita, as names go in, could you read some of them out to us?
Sure. All right. Andrew says St. Andrew. Marilee said Christopher. Jennifer, St. Francis. Mia Bea, St. Francis and St. Catherine. Elizabeth of Hungary. And Beltan, St. Cecilia and St. Joseph. Raymond is Peter. Alexander says Padre Pio, Maximilian Kolbe, Janet said St. Francis, said Free said St. Peregrine. Did I miss anybody here? Kevin, St. Augustine. Me, I like my favorite is St. Anthony because I always lose things.
I have so many of them, but I'm going to tell you a story about a saint. When the other epidemic hit San Francisco, which was the AIDS epidemic quite a few years ago, I had started work for visiting nurses in hospice, and I was coordinating the volunteer program for them. And one of the great needs that we had in the program was people to do a massage. And a lot of times it was legs and feet and hands or maybe back. And I thought, well, I could do that. And I went and took the training. And before I got assigned, they said, well, you need to go meet with so-and-so. He's the massage therapist for the AIDS program and for hospice program, because we took more than just AIDS patients. And, go just check things out, make sure you're all set for the first patient you get assigned. And I went to visit him and he said, well, do you have a mentor you're following? And I said, what do you mean? And he said, a saint. And I was sort of surprised because I didn't know he was Catholic, for one thing. And I said, I hadn't even thought of it. And he said, well, you have to get a saint, one to journey with you. And he said, go home, pray about it, think about it. When you come back next week before you get assigned, I want to know who your mentor's going to be. And I said, well, how will I know? This is the person going to travel with me. This is the saint, sort of like your guardian angel. It's going to help me with this. And he said, oh, you'll know, don't worry. They'll speak to you. So I went home, I prayed, I read stories of saints, all kinds of things. And like 1 hour before I was supposed to meet with him, I still didn't have a saint. And I thought, oh my goodness, I've already failed. What am I going to do? I spent all this time wanting to get ready and do something, and maybe this isn't what God's calling to. So I got in my car and I drove over to his house, found a parking space, and I was about 10 minutes early. And all of a sudden, a name came to me. One I had never heard before or barely knew. And I thought, is this the one I'm supposed to take? Wow. So I went in and I said, well, this is what happened and I have a name. And he said, okay, what's your name? And I said, oh, it was the Curie of Ars. And he said, how unique. And I said, so who is he and why would he be a good mentor for me, for the patients I get to see? And he said, oh, he's a very famous French priest who heard lots of confessions and did lots of pastoral care with people, and people from all over the region, not just in France, came and had him, spoke to him about their needs and their cares, and he gave them guidance. And I thought, oh my goodness, I really do have a saint that's going to be with me. And it was a wonderful experience because each time I went to visit a patient, I would sit in my car for 5 minutes, 10 minutes and pray to the Curie of Ars. And I have, let's see, hold on. I'll take it off my wall. I don't know if you'll, it's so small, but this is a bronze medal of him. Can you see him? He's sitting there talking to people, blessing them. But I just, I also found out he's the patron saint of priests. And I didn't know that. So I really treasure his story and the saints that we hold, you know, as special. There are a lot of others. I have a litany of them. I need a whole bunch of them to keep me going. You know, I have Padre Pio, I got Teresa of Avila, I got Teresa the Little Flower, I have Saint Benedict and Saint Scholastica, and the list goes on. But all of them, and okay, Annalita, also Saint Anthony. We share Saint Anthony together. We call upon him in the office many times. So,
Saint Joseph.
huh?
Saint Joseph.
Oh, in Saint Joseph, yes, definitely Saint Joseph. So, and we're in the year of Saint Joseph. So what I'd like to do is introduce you to a person we've invited to be with us and share story about how discipleship, because saints live the life of discipleship, called to be saints by Jesus, how each one of us is called to be a saint and to be a disciple with us. So I'm going to ask Chris, if you can come on, and I'll make you the speaker view, Chris. Are you there?
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
There he is. Oh my goodness, you're in Rome.
Mhm.
Yes, this is a part of Rome, correct. And I'm gonna share the story of this place in Rome. So it's pretty awesome. Thank you, Sister Celeste. Thank you, everybody. First of all, I want to welcome everybody again. It was great to hear everyone's little story of how they got here, which is pretty awesome. You know, my confirmation journey was, I was a little bit later. I wasn't as late as in college or past that. I was actually in high school, and actually I got confirmed in the Philippines myself. That was my journey, and I did get slapped a little bit, but I was so blessed. I was actually confirmed at the cathedral in Manila, next to the Filipino White House, and
Mhm.
I was actually confirmed by I think, if not mistaken, at that time, the cardinal over there. So it was a wonderful experience, and I didn't really understand everything that was going on. I didn't understand why, but I knew that there was something there. Like I knew that just like a lot of you have said in your intro, was that you felt it was time. You felt that this is part of the journey, that this is a time for you to really figure out or kind of reconnect with the church. And you know, it's so funny that we say that because and a lot of you also said that you actually are preparing for the sacrament of marriage. And that's another funny story, because my best friend, we were very active at church. I'm actually a youth minister. I do youth ministry and young adult ministry for the Archdiocese of San Francisco. So Sister Celeste and Annalita and we're on the same floor there. And but when I was a youth minister, I had a very good friend, and I asked him, "Oh, I know he was very active at church. He helped me a lot with youth ministry. He chaperoned a lot of things for me." And he said, "I said, why don't you teach with me this year?" He goes, "Sure, I'll teach." And you know, at that time, he was himself getting prepared for marriage. So it was really great for him to reconnect and just walk through the catechesis part. So we're doing all this prep, and then it's time as we're doing the classes. He's doing great. He's sharing his story. He's sharing his discipleship. He's teaching how, or he's actually sharing how he became active in the church. And then so when the wedding was coming up, we decided we had to put together a little, you know how we put video montages for weddings, and we have like pictures of old. And so he said, "Why don't you come to my house?" This was like maybe 2 days before the wedding. And he says to me, "Come over to the house or to our apartment and let me help me pick pictures." "Oh, sure, I'll pick pictures. I'll help you with the pictures and the slideshow." So I'm going through the pictures, right? And as I'm going through the pictures, then there's this one picture that he was at his church at IHM over there in Belmont. And then I saw him with his fiance and their families. And then they were there, and then they actually took a picture with the bishop. I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's great. Were you a sponsor? Who's like, what was this? What moment was this?" He goes, oh, that I was confirmed. I said, you're not, you just got confirmed, or you're reconfirmed? What, I mean, what exactly was happening? And he said, no, that's my confirmation. I said, you weren't confirmed this whole time? Because he said, when he called his mom to ask, oh, mom, can I get my paperwork for the sacraments? She goes, great, here's this and here's that. And he goes, where's my confirmation? She goes, you never got confirmed. And so for his wife, who also was a youth minister, very active in the church, and they were like, what happened? And it was just the funniest moment. I had to learn, my best friend that helped me teach confirmation wasn't confirmed himself. And he actually got confirmed later that year with the bishop at his church at IHM. So it was just a really fun and a great experience. And it was just, he felt so ashamed. He felt so, and I hope none of you feel ashamed about how late or how early you've got your confirmation, because I think this is a great opportunity. Like Sister Celeste said, God will show you the time. God will show you when you're ready. And he's always picked you. It's just now our eyes open to this great sacrament, and like Sister Celeste said, today's talk is, like I said, my friend was a true disciple before he was confirmed. But again, he was in the spirit of confirmation. He thought he was confirmed, but he knew that the spirit of confirmation is to serve. And I think that's the most beautiful part about what we have here in our church, is that we have these moments in our sacraments that we have a special period of time in our life. As we know, like baptism is when we are born again or born into the church. First communion is when we receive Christ. Confirmation is what's so beautiful about it, it's a confirmation of what has been given to us in baptism. And I think that's one of the biggest things, that when I share this with the people that are being confirmed, that we really see that now God is now passing the baton to us and saying, okay, what are you going to do now with your gifts that I have given you? How can I have the Holy Spirit help you discern, but also share, or in discipleship to the world, my love? I mean, that's, a lot of, like you said, a lot of you are also going to the next step of confirmation, or next step of the sacraments, which is actually marriage, which I think is so key to who, especially what the sacraments are. The sacrament of confirmation leads us to service. And especially in a marriage, I'm married myself. I'm actually also in the process of going next year, God willing, in May, I'll actually be ordained as a permanent deacon. And the sacrament, it leads us to the service of the church. And when I say church, I'm not talking about the building. I'm talking about the people here on earth. And if we really understand that if we're married or on the process of marriage, this sacrament will give you the grace. And if we truly understand the gifts of the Spirit, a lot of it is about marriage. When we talk about understanding, knowledge, wisdom, counsel, you see, these, piety, these gifts of the Spirit will lead you in your discipleship, either in religious life, or in your married life, or in your single life. These gifts nourish and encourage us and empower us to serve. Like I said, I've been married now. It'll be over 13 years now. And we've known each other for a long time. We've known each other through church, through choirs, and we're actually youth ministers together, my wife and I. And there was a time in my life where I had to discern my discipleship. I had to discern where was my service. Like Sister Celeste said earlier, that I could definitely help in the Spanish of reading a menu, because I was actually a chef for a long time in my life. And I talked to when I talk Spanish to the kids in some of the areas that I work in, it's so funny. I always tell them I know a lot of good kitchen Spanish. I don't know, conversational Spanish still escapes me, but and sometimes what I learned in the kitchens weren't really the best words out there. So, but when we talk about this, about the relationship my wife and I had, I actually left ministry for 2 years to just go on, and because when my wife and I got married, she said to me, Chris, I think it's time for you to go have she said a real job, a job that actually pays money, that might help us support a family, things like that, And so I followed, and I said, okay, let's try this. So I went back into the restaurant industry full time. I made a lot of money for a lot of people, and we had a lot of fun doing it. But at the same time, there was a time in when we had our first son, I was leaving the house at 7 o'clock in the morning to get the restaurant ready. Then I would be at home at 11 o'clock at night, closing up the restaurant to make sure that it was ready. And at that moment, one of those moments, I came home and I just felt so like, I didn't feel like a father. I didn't feel like a husband. I wasn't serving anybody. I was just serving people. But for my family, I was not neither of those. I was just a paycheck. And that's what went into my head, my thought. I was like, my gosh, I'm just a paycheck. I'm not doing my service to my church, to my family. So maybe a few weeks later, I didn't say anything to my wife. I just, I had to go to sleep, wake up, go to work, all that. And so a few weeks later, my wife came up to me as I was just getting ready for the evening. And she says to me, Chris, I think it's time to go back. Go back? Go back to what? And she goes, it's time to go back to, I think it's time for you to go back to ministry. We talked about this. We talked about the income. We talked about, that ministry wouldn't sustain us. So, but she goes, no, I just need you to be happy. And for her to say that just made me understand that we serve each other. Even though I may not want to have said it out loud, maybe I might not have want to really come to that conclusion, that we are here to serve each other. We're here to help each other discern and help see where God is. And when we talk about discipleship, it's more than just work. It's more than just service. It is really helping people see where God's at. That's what the disciples did. When we look back at however you studied for confirmation, if we look back at how the disciples brought the church and brought them along and helped them see God in Jesus Christ, not only in their words, but specifically in their actions. That is where we as confirmed Catholics, that's where we serve. That's how we grow the church. That's how we become these evangelizers. This is how now it's beyond just like I've said, I do confirmation and I do it for high school, middle schoolers. And I said, this is not the end to anything. This isn't the end of sacraments. This is the beginning of a service-filled life. So when I say that, I'm not talking about yes, serve the world, but first like serve the world around the 3 feet around you first. How do we serve each other? How do you serve your family, your parents, your siblings, your children? Do we serve them enough to make them see God in this world through you? And if we truly understand this service, this discipleship, Mother Teresa said it the best. There's a saying. She says, uh, "You want world peace? Start in the home." We don't have to go outside our walls to serve God. We have everything we need within our home. And if we understand the true essence of the family, that is the primary unit of the church. The family is the unit of the church. We don't look at individuals, we look at families. And if we really understand that, I mean, last year and a half, and even here, we're doing this on Zoom. It's crazy of how this year panned out. It's crazy how we couldn't even touch our closest friends and family when that is what inspires us. That's what keeps us going. I don't know about you, but when we finally got a chance to just meet people or just go out and not feel so separated from each other, that we felt this weight lifted off of our souls, off of our shoulders, that we could really connect and serve each other. So what I want, if you for the next few minutes, I want you to, as you are thinking about your own confirmation, about your own now, you saying, not only you saying yes, but God saying yes to you, saying that you are now going to be a soldier of Christ. You're going to be a person to serve people as Christ did on this earth. I want you to take a few moments here, maybe a minute or two, just jot down or think about the people that really have not only nourished you, but that need your service, that need your Christ in you, so that they can move on to the next part of their journey. I want you to take a few minutes, because I think as confirmed Catholics, this is not a personal sacrament. Now, this is now taking you to the next level of service in your faith. So take a minute or two here to just jot down some names or think about some people that really are in your heart, but also that you see that might need a Christ-like figure as yourself in their life. So take a minute here to get those thoughts. You know, as sister was talking about saints earlier, my parish where I'm at Our Lady of Angels in Burlingame, and we actually have the Capuchins there, the Franciscan friars there, and it was funny. Just a few weeks ago, or maybe a month ago now, some of my staff there at Our Lady of Angels, we're texting each other and we're sharing some, and so somebody sent me a picture, and one of the pictures was that they're actually making a new saint movie. They're actually in the process right now, and Sister Celeste actually said this saint. It's actually Padre Pio. They're actually doing a movie about Padre Pio, and the Capuchins here on the West Coast are in process of helping them kind of write out. It was funny. I was talking to the provincial, the one that's in charge of the Franciscans here in the West Coast. And I go, so Father, how's it coming along? He goes, well, I think, the concept is great, but he goes, the script, he goes, it's not good. So he's actually helping them kind of rewrite some of the parts, because he said it didn't really show the true essence of Padre Pio. So, but along with those pictures, there was a picture of a very famous actor that's actually gonna be playing, or he wants to play Padre Pio if this movie goes off. And actually, I don't know if you know the Transformer movies, but it's actually Shia LaBeouf who is actually wanting to play Padre Pio in this movie. And the beautiful thing about this is Shia has been totally converted, and he's actually right now going to mass every day. He's actually learning about the Latin, learning how to read, and because it's also part of the role, but he's learning how to read Latin. But he was actually converted through the process of he actually went through Alcoholics Anonymous. He's now been sober for I think a year or so. But he learned through the process that it was a Catholic foundational teaching of the 12 steps. And when he wanted to learn more about it, then this role came along, and now he wants to play Padre Pio. And so actually there's a lot of us praying for his conversion, because now, like I said, he's driving 2 hours every day to go to daily mass. And he's really making really a strong effort to really understand the faith. And he's one of those people that I'm praying for, as he's going along this journey. And hopefully this isn't just about a project, but this is really about his own self-conversion. And actually, one of our young priests, he's actually his spiritual director at the moment. So he's asking not only about the parts of the mass, but he's asking about his own personal journey, which is beautiful. And I think that's as all of you are going through this journey as well, it's beautiful. It's like Sister Celeste too, like said, who are our people that we're journeying with, who are, as it says in the Bible, Jesus didn't say go out one by one, right? He said go out by twos, go out in community, go out to serve with. And that's why I think it's so beautiful that she had a saint at that time to journey with. And we have to remember that these saints, they're not gone. They're alive. They're alive with God right now. And if we truly understand that aspect of the journey, I'm glad that you have your sponsor, because that is your physical sponsor here on earth. They're the ones that are gonna journey with you on this road, again, by two. But it's good to also have a saint as part of your sponsor, or your, if you choose a sponsor from heaven, that they can pray for you right there next to Jesus, that they're there with God. And that's what's so beautiful about our faith, is that we have these saints that we could go to, and that we could actually make them our friends, make them make them a part of our journey into this faith. And especially part of the discipleship. They should be, it's like any mentorship program you have, right? Either being electrician, plumber, teacher even, right? We need to have good mentors. And what better mentor can there be but a saint? Their life is there. It's there for you. There are biographies, there are great books on them. And then you could actually see how you can actually journey, but also emulate what they do. You know, like they say, I tell this to the kids all the time, that, you know, the best form of flattery is copying, someone. And if when you copy a saint, then you can actually then interject your own points, your own thoughts, your own feelings about the situations. Because God has entrusted you to be there at that moment in time. Right? Remember those times when you were there for those big moments in not only your life, but people's lives? Why were you there? By accident? God puts us in these places so we can share in this joy, but more importantly, that we could be a light for them. You know, joy, you know, I think that's a big part of, as we journey, as you now are being now going to be part of the sacrament of confirmation. Joy has to be a big understanding of what we do. I would really ask all of us here to be in joy of the sacrament. And when I say enjoy, I don't mean ENJOY. I mean INJOY. And that's a big difference about, I mean, if you had sponsors, if you have your either godparents from when you're baptized or your sponsors now, hopefully you see your sponsor in joy of service. That their service is in joy, that they're serving Jesus. Second, serving others. Then lastly, but not forgetting yourself. That we do it in joy. Jesus, at others, and yourself. And if we truly do serve that way, imagine how much better, how much more the world would be. We wouldn't have the things happening right now. We wouldn't have the things that with the social injustices. If everyone just understood that, if we just did things in joy, in serving others, then you know what? Then I think the world would be a better place, wouldn't it? It'd change a lot that's happening. And I'm just so blessed to be here with the 29 of us here, I think, right, sister? Is that right? There's 28 of us here on this call. And I have hope. We have hope because you're now entering into this quote unquote army of Christ, this soldiers of Christ, that now we have people here, not only as singles, but as couples, now journeying together and serving the world. And don't forget that just because you're not out there in the world, that you're not helping the people in Africa or the people, there's a lot of work here that needs to be done here in the Archdiocese of San Francisco. I mean, driving into work, into our office there, how many tent areas do I pass by? How many people do I see on the corners or on the stoplights with signs looking for some type of help? You know, I mean, our soup kitchens are full, you know, and that's just the people that are out there looking for help. What if the people in our own families that don't ask for help but still need help internally, that need some type of light, that need some type of guidance? And as you receive this gift, the Holy Spirit will now strengthen those gifts within you that you've received ever since baptism. I think that's why I heard earlier today, right, as you were introducing yourself and why you're getting confirmed. It's that call. It's that internal call that, you know what, there's something more here. There's something more that's needed in my life, or maybe not just needed, but strengthened. And that's what the Holy Spirit will do on the day of confirmation. The Spirit will strengthen these gifts and give you more assurance, give you more courage, but definitely give you more insight into what gifts in you that you could share to the world. You know, as a youth minister for the last 20 years, I really take that part of the discipleship part very seriously, because I don't know who's going to be walking into my program the year after year after year. If they're going to be the next doctor, are they going to be the next, leader in the community? Are they going to be the next, teacher? Whatever the profession, whatever it is, are they going to be the next father, husband, wife? Are they going to be the next priest? But just looking through this Zoom and seeing all these names and all these faces, there are going to be people within your circle of influence, with the people around you or 3 feet around you, that you have opportunity to share this great gift of the Holy Spirit that's within you. So I know I asked you to think about those people. So if we could maybe have a couple of what's the word? Volunteers to kind of share. Maybe you don't have to say the name, but maybe give them who they are to, maybe a mother, father, brother, sister, niece, nephew. Who is that person that you thought of, and what do you think you could actually share with them through this gift of confirmation?
Alex Lopez.
Yes, Alex.
I think my family and my sisters and my brother, my half brother. So I will know more, I think, after the confirmation. I'll just let it guide me.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's it. That's all I can say.
Alex, that's beautiful. I didn't share this part. I forgot to share this part, but when my wife told me that I need to go back to ministry that night, of course we talked about it. And I don't expect any of you to do this. Please do not say you did this because I told you to. Don't do this. But that night, I actually wrote my resignation letter. I had no job in sight. I had a son. I had a wife. We had bills to pay. My wife, I told my wife, I just wrote my resignation letter that night. And my little prayer that night was, God, you and me. And that's all I did. And what was the most beautiful part was 2 weeks later, on my last day of work, I remember it was Cinco de Mayo, that we had a lot of people drinking that day. That's how I remembered it. But it was Cinco de Mayo. I went into my car for lunch, and I saw I got 3 calls. I got one call from one of the all-girls high school to do music for them. I got a call from the all-boys school high school to do music for them. Then I got a call from Our Lady of Angels, Father Michael, the pastor there. He asked me if they wanted to interview me for a full-time position as a youth minister. Talk about abundance, right? When you ask God, he'll give it to you. You just have to be very direct in what you ask of him, or else he'll just give you whatever, and it's just not fun either. But he'll give you what you want. And Alex, I think that's beautiful that you're willing to roll with the punches. And I think that's a beautiful, that's faith, right?
It was a long road.
I'm sorry,
it was
Alex?
a long road for me. And I said it was a long road for me. Yeah, a lot of stuff. Yeah, that's all I say.
Yeah. And, now that you're here, it's awesome. Thank you, Alex. Helen Hernandez.
I want to do this for my daughter. She's 18. She was baptized when she was 3. And I want her to continue and believe what I believe in. So I want to take this step so I can teach her and push her.
No, Helen, that's awesome. Don't push her too hard. Just saying. No,
too late. She's being pushed really hard.
But you know what? That's beautiful, because again, it's easier to, if you guide her correctly, right? It takes a lot of energy to drag somebody, doesn't it? But if you direct her in the right way, you push her, it's a lot easier to push the right direction.
Correct.
And you know what? That's great. And you're taking that role of mentor very seriously as a parent. And I think that's a very strong role, and it's a needed role because there's not enough mentors out there, especially with our young people. And like I said, I work in that office, and I've been doing it for 20 years. And you know, and that's beautiful that you're giving them this opportunity to see that, you know what, I'm doing it. Let's do this as a family, which is great.
Yes.
Awesome. Thanks, Helen. Anybody else want to share? Anybody that came to their mind of when they were thinking of names or people? Go ahead, Mary Lee. I see you. Yeah, go ahead.
You saw me ready to go.
I saw the unmute button go off.
Definitely my kids, and my husband, my family. I think I said earlier to Sister Celeste, I was raised Catholic, but never confirmed. And so my kids we're raising them Catholic. My husband's Catholic. And so, you know, just kind of reaffirming my faith and reaffirming, you know, what it feels like to be called upon, and living with God in my heart, I think is important for my kids and my family ultimately.
I love that you use the word reaffirming, because I think that's one thing that we're not using enough in our families, and I'm not seeing it in our young people. I'm not saying your young people, but just in general, that they're not reaffirming, and we have to teach them how to reaffirm by our own actions, right? And it's beautiful that you're being that example again, for our young people, because again, it's enough that they have social media as their influencers. I mean, let's get back to seeing them eye to eye. Let's get back to meeting them where they're at. Like, and that's what's so beautiful about our church. Pope Francis calls us that when we reach out to our young people, meet them where they're at. Meet them where they're at. Do not try to, like I said earlier, do not drag them to where we're going. Do not drag them. Let's really meet them where they're at and help them see where we're going together. So Mary Lee, that's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. So, you know, I just want to, you know, say that, you know, keep those people as, you know, if you can, what I would do is write these names down. And when you get confirmed, put them in your pocket or put them in your hand, put them somewhere where they're going to be on your person on the day of confirmation, so that they really hold a place where you're going on this journey, as you know. And if we truly understand the road to Emmaus, how we're walking 2 by 2, and you know, and now your eyes have opened. Now you have seen where this sacrament now can lead you, just like how the Eucharist did for those 2 men on the road to Emmaus. That the breaking of the bread, that we need to lead our families, our church, our friends to the Eucharist and see where Christ is in you. Now, every time you receive that Eucharist, know that Christ is in you, and now you are the instrument God has created here on earth. So really, I pray for all of you. I hope that you took something from this talk, even if it's just one thing. But I hope, you know, that through this journey that we meet again, that we meet on this road. You know, we have so many great things happening in young adult ministry. We're actually putting together the World Youth Day program. We're actually traveling to Portugal in 2023. If you have young family, bring them along. You know, but that's a big ticket. I don't know if you're able to do it, but if you're able to come, please come, because we're also adding on to that trip. Hopefully a trip to Assisi, the home and place of St. Francis, and also maybe a little stop at the Vatican as well, since it will be not as busy there through the week of World Youth Day. So sorry, Sister Celeste, I had to put in a little commercial there while I had a chance. But again, thank you, Sister Celeste, for having me here. But I'm just know everybody here, I'm praying for you on when you're getting confirmed, that you really take this role of confirmed disciples, confirmed disciples to heart, and you really make Christ present in your world. So amen, and thank you again, Sister Celeste.
Well, thank you, Chris. I really appreciate you taking this evening and sharing with us about discipleship in your life. He really is a wonderful partner in ministry. I feel like he shares so much with me, but especially his energy and goodness, which you've met a saint when you see goodness in them. And the nice thing about the church is that we believe on saints in heaven, but also saints on earth. But you were going to say something, Chris.
Yes, I forgot to mention the beautiful church behind me.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is actually what we call, this is a church in Rome called San Andrea de Careale. This is actually the chapel of the old Vatican. As you, if you know church history, there's one time that the Vatican was actually separated from, or the Catholic Church was separated from Italy, and they took over the papal palace. And this is the actual papal chapel that the first few popes actually prayed in. And also it's called the chapel of the saints, because this is where saints would go, or the saints like Francis, Ignatius, all those novices and people studying would go here to this church first to pray. And the reason why it's on my background, it reminds me of my own wedding, because that's where my wife and I had the sacrament of marriage.
Oh.
So that's why because my wife's name's Teresa, I'm Christopher, and my kids are all Benedict, Francis, and Theodore. They're all saints too. So we love the saints. So, but again, I just want to say that before. I know I was going to mention it, but I forgot to mention it. But thank you, sister.
Well, thank you. And a piece of history I didn't know. So thank you for sharing that too. Well, why don't we're going to play a little piece of music, a video piece. It was created a few years ago for a gathering in Rome called Jubilee Year. And it really has to do with discipleship and who we are. And you may see some pictures in this of people you already know, you've seen on television. I don't know if you've ever met any of them, but let me share my screen again. And thank you again, Chris, for being part of this evening. And, whoop, that's not the one I want. I don't know how to end it, Chris. That's not the one. Try it again. As I said, I was trying to, I'm trying to get my act together with knowing this stuff. There. Here we go.
Every act of love will be remembered. Every act of kindness will be returned. Every ray of sunlight will melt the darkness. Every prayer will be heard, and all shall be well, and all shall be well, and all manner of things shall be well, and all shall be well, and all shall be well, and all manner of things shall be well.
grace will be extended. Every act of courage will be prolonged. Every word of solace will calm a heartache. Faith will lead us on, and all shall be well, and all shall be well, and all manner of things shall be well, and all shall be well, and all shall be well, and all manner of things shall be well.
So this is the first piece we're doing tonight, and it's probably time for a break. And when we come back, we'll have another presenter helping us a little bit with looking more at the Spirit and how the Spirit leads us. I always say in baptism, we were already given the gifts of the Spirit. And we work out of those, and you may ask you may be able to identify, well, this gift of the Spirit I can do really well, or this one I really depend upon. But what do you need that you haven't used yet? I always say got to watch that Holy Spirit, because she gives you that gift at confirmation. So we're going to take a break, and I have 7:30. If we come back by 7:45, we're going to start at 7:45. So if you're on a different time zone, I know some people are, 15 minutes. And
Sister,
yes,
before
ma'am.
they go on a break, maybe those who came in late, to put their name again on the chat box.